Here is another outstanding Neanderthal Paleo Story Stone face and mammoth effigy from Monsac, France. Monsac, France is in the southwest corner of France and is really surrounded by Neanderthal sites. La Chapelle aux Saints in southwest France is not far from Monsac, and it's a famous Neanderthal burial site. And the French artifact dealer that I bought these from, who specializes in Neanderthal artifacts, educated me a little bit about Monsac. Monsac at one time had, up on the ridge above Monsac, had caves where the Neanderthals had lived. And they inhabited those caves for thousands of years. And in the 20th century, those caves were destroyed from people that were mining the area for rocks for building materials. So those caves were destroyed, and they no longer exist. But before the 20th century, they did, and I think they're very well documented. This is an outstanding mammoth image of a mature mammoth facing right. And I've done a video of this imagery, and it's very common with Paleo Story Stone face and mammoth effigies. We'll see that it's quite common, and it's not only common during the Neanderthal period, but it spans a lot of time periods and a lot of different locations throughout the world. And I'll post that video either before this one or shortly after, so you can see the likenesses of the imagery that are very common when it comes to imaging mammoths. This mature mammoth facing right is just outstanding. We have that eye flaked away there and its big sweepy trunk off to the right. Just outstanding. And then when we turn it this way, now we have the baby mammoth with its little trunk over here and its massive hair tuft above the head, with the eye flaked away, facing off to the left. Great, great mammoth imagery right there for the baby mammoth. Then the faces on this are just outrageous as well. This is a very large piece. Here we have a great face of the young face with the nose, the eye, and the mouth of the young face now looking off to the left. What great imagery that is of a young face with quite a hairdo or maybe a headdress above his head, looking off to the left right there. Outstanding. And then the mature mammoth, the mature face, the older face, with the big nose and the open mouth, and the eye again, now facing off to the right. And the hairdo up there, or maybe headdress, of the older face now looking off to the right. Just really, really good imagery on this Paleo Story Stone effigy. And we also have a couple of more faces on this side, and that is, we have another face, the older face, with the big sweepy nose and the big open mouth, with the eye, and then maybe a horned shaman looking off to the left. This is the eye, nose, and the mouth. It's flaked away, looking off to the left. That's the open mouth of the old face. And then this is the eye and the more pointy nose of the younger face looking off to the right. Wow, great facial eye, nose over here, and mouth down below of the young face looking off to the right, and the old face with the big nose looking off to the left. Just tremendous. And then when we turn it over, we see that this is from Monsac, France. And we see the baby mammoth with its little appendage trunk now facing off to the right. And then when we hold it this way, now we have the mature mammoth image with the big sweepy trunk facing off to the left. Just an excellent image there of a mature mammoth facing off to the left. Then the faces on this are interesting and very good as well. This is the eye of a face, of the younger face with the pointed nose looking off to the left. That's the younger face looking off to the left. Then we see this same eye, but look at this big droopy nose. It's actually been incised to accent that nose. The eye up above here and the big nose and the open mouth down here of the older face looking off to the right. Wow, what great imagery on this piece. On both sides of this piece, just great imagery. And then there could even be a bit of an older mammoth here viewed with a major sloping back and the trunk coming down to the right up on its haunches. That's imaged from time to time as well, with the face looking up from the back of this mammoth. But I wanted to also share that I believe these are not only wonderful Paleo Story Stone face and mammoth effigies, and this style is well known. For example, here's another one, but this isn't from Monsac. This is from France, but it has that big sweepy nose off to the left. That's another mammoth face and mammoth effigy. That's Neanderthal. And here's another great Neanderthal piece there that I've done a video on as well. And that's facing off to the left with its big sweepy trunk off to the left. But the same type of imagery as we see here on this piece. But what I believe that makes this piece rather special is that not only have I studied and specialized in early man in the Americas for the last 40 years, but I've also specialized in Olmec and Maya artifacts. And what we find when we examine terracottas, clay figures or plates or bowls from Maya tombs, they all come from Maya tombs, and we spray them with water to determine what, if any, it may be recently added clay versus the original clay, because we don't want to acquire pieces that have more than 10% restoration, as they're not really commercially desirable. And the water won't hurt an original pot at all, and it won't hurt the paint unless the paint is flaking off. But if the paint is stable, water will not hurt. The spraying of water will not hurt the piece at all. And what I find, and what is common, since the terracottas, the clay pieces of the Maya and the Olmec were all tomb pieces, when you do spray them with water, it gives the piece has a definite, what I call, tomb odor. It has a definite smell to it that you just won't ever forget. And all of them have that odor pretty much, unless they're fakes or they've been sealed with something. And lo and behold, when I was rinsing this off, I noticed that exact same stench, that exact same tomb odor. So I believe that not only are these magnificent Paleo Story Stone face and mammoth effigies that the Neanderthal fashioned, but they were also grave goods. I believe these were burial and funerary goods that were left in the graves of the Neanderthal. And likely in the caves above Monsac, there were likely Neanderthals buried in those caves. And that these were offerings to the grave good, and included as a grave good burial item for the dead. So I think these are very special Paleo Story Stones, because most Paleo Story Stones would not be grave goods. I believe they were made to worship the mammoth with some type of worldwide mammoth cult or worldwide mammoth worship. Maybe a creation story where we evolved from the mammoth, because the mammoth was the biggest, baddest animal in the jungle, and Neanderthals lived only till about 37 years old on an average, probably not more than 40, where mammoths could live easily to 60 years old. So the Paleo Indians from over 11,000 years ago all the way back to Homo habilis had this mammoth cult. They all made these Paleo Story Stone face and mammoth effigies, and I believe it was in worship to the mammoth, just like the Olmec worshiped the jaguar, and we find that they had a word jaguar motif and cult, thinking that we evolved from the jaguar, because in the jungles of Mesoamerica, the jaguar was the biggest, baddest animal in the jungle. So different cultures have thought that we evolved from different animals. And I believe that the Paleo Indians thought we evolved from the mammoth. And that is just an outstanding mammoth, of a mature mammoth now facing right. And I believe it's very likely a Neanderthal grave good funerary offering.